Ever think your life's a mess until you see someone else's and suddenly you're like, nope, I'm good? That's how I felt the first time I heard what happened to Ellie and to Leliana. Picture this. Early morning, barely any sun, and there's Sandra at the edge of the road, clutching the tiny wrist of two girls, just 3 years old, clothes torn, hair a tangled mess, faces so tired you'd swear they'd lived 100 lives already. Ellie and Leliana didn't even know where they were going, just whispering, "Auntie, where are we going?" and getting shushed, because even their voices seemed like too much trouble for her. Then, around the corner near the garbage dump, there's this man sitting on a broken crate, long dreadlocks, beat-up coat, beard like a wild thing, looking for all the world like he hadn't had a break since '98. You know what I mean. Sandra didn't hesitate, just marched up and practically threw the twins at him. "Take these kids. Do whatever. I don't care," she muttered, snatching a crumpled $5 bill he handed over like she'd just made the deal of her life. She pushed the girls toward him and walked away without a single look back. Man, you could feel the chill in the air right then. Ellie started crying, asking for Daddy, and Leliana, even smaller, tried to ask if he was their new uncle. The man just knelt, dusted off his coat, and told them softly, "No, little ones, from today, I'm your father." And as if the universe itself had been holding its breath, a black Mercedes slid up to the curb, a driver stepped out, and just like that, the homeless man picked the girls up, tucked them into soft leather seats, and as the car rolled away, he dropped the disguise with a quick phone call. "It's done. Get the guest wing ready and call the pediatrician." His name? Mr. Andrew Okafor, CEO. Yeah, CEO of one of the biggest companies in Nigeria. The twins didn't know it, Sandra didn't know it, but this guy was about to turn their world upside down. Meanwhile, Sandra ran home, locked herself inside, then came out screaming bloody murder, telling neighbors the twins were gone, spinning some story about leaving for the market. Neighbors looked at each other, not buying it for a second. They'd all seen the way Sandra treated those kids, heard the shouting, watched them go to bed hungry. But no one said anything. Not then. Later that day, Jonathan came home. If you want to talk about heartbreak, picture a man standing there, suitcase in hand, asking, "Where are my children?" only to see Sandra collapse and wail, "They're gone." He remembered the kitchen where Amanda, his second wife, had died 3 months earlier. Poisoned. Yeah, poisoned. The whole mess started because Sandra, his first wife, never wanted Amanda around, never wanted the twins. She couldn't have more kids. Jonathan married Amanda, and that jealousy just ate Sandra alive. She tried to hurt Amanda while she was pregnant. After Amanda died, let's just say, nobody had proof, but everybody had their suspicions. Jonathan never confronted Sandra, not really. Maybe he was afraid, maybe just broken. And now, his daughter's gone, too. "Something's wrong, terribly wrong," he cried. But Sandra thought she'd gotten away with it, handing those girls over like old shoes, not realizing the homeless man was, in fact, a billionaire with eyes everywhere, recording every word she said on a camera hidden in his dashboard. That night, Andrew sat in his home office, watching the footage, whispering, "These children will rise." And while Sandra stewed in fear, especially after getting an envelope with a photo of the girls dressed in new clothes, smiling in front of a mansion, Ellie and Leliana slept in their own beds for the first time, wrapped in pink covers. Nannies checking in every hour. Andrew watched them through security cameras, heart aching. He'd lost his own family, 2 daughters and a wife, in a car crash years before. He told his assistant, they looked just like Kayamika and Aoife. The girls, for the first time, were safe. A few months went by. Ellie became the talker, asking questions, curious about everything: planes, rain, stars. Leliana was quieter, always drawing, but she started smiling more, hugging the nannies. Andrew enrolled them in the best school, and soon teachers said they were gifted. Ellie excelling at science, Leliana a natural artist. Andrew became their father in every way that mattered, helping with homework, cheering at sports days, reading bedtime stories. For their 5th birthday, he threw a party with a cake that read, "For Amanda, the Mama of Angels." The guests clapped, Andrew cried, and for a minute, the world felt good. But Jonathan, back home, was falling apart. He stopped working, sat under a mango tree every evening, thinking about Amanda's last words. Promise me you'll love them. He felt he'd failed her, failed the girls. One evening, he asked Sandra again, "Where are my daughters?" She lied, as always, and that night Jonathan just walked off barefoot into the dark. 7 years later, everything had changed. Ellie and Leliana, now top graduates, dreamed of flying. Andrew gave them everything, even after telling them the truth. It was Sandra who gave them away, not their father. Then came the twist. On the way home from an awards banquet, their car stopped for a beggar on the street. Ellie stared. "Stop," she said. The man turned. It was Jonathan, older, gray, but still him. "My children," he cried, falling to his knees. Ellie hugged him, tears streaming. "You didn't protect us," she whispered. "I had to work. I didn't know," he sobbed. Leliana forgave him in her own way. They drove off, leaving him standing in the rain. But they didn't shut the door completely. That week, Sandra got hit by a bus, landed in the hospital needing surgery. Ellie wanted to help. She's still human. Leliana didn't. She's a monster. In the end, they paid for Sandra's operation but cut her out of their lives for good. Sandra survived, but no one visited, no one cared. Her son George blamed the twins for everything, and Sandra died alone after another accident, haunted by what she'd done. At her funeral, Ellie and Leliana stood in the mud, black suits, faces covered, and as the casket dropped, Ellie whispered, "Rest, Sandra." We let go of the pain. But George didn't let go. He sent a letter, threatening revenge, claiming there were family secrets buried with Sandra. And that's when things really started getting messy. The twins learned their real father, Jonathan, was the lost heir to a massive fortune. Sandra knew. That's why she tried to wipe them out, to keep everything for George. Now George was stirring up trouble, hiring lawyers, rallying dangerous men. When the twins went to speak at a youth conference, George sent thugs after them. Security stopped the kidnapping, police got involved, and George was caught and sentenced. You'd think that'd be the end, right? But months later, as the twins built a school in Amanda's name and flew international routes as pilots, the peace shattered again. George escaped prison, sent a message: the bloodline war has just begun. Security alarms flashed, the mansion locked down, and as rain hammered the windows, the twins realized their story wasn't finished, not by a long shot. So here's my question. What do you do when family becomes the enemy? When forgiveness feels like defeat, but revenge only burns you deeper? Would you have helped Sandra? Would you keep looking over your shoulder? Or finally stand and fight for your peace? Tell me where you stand, share your thoughts below, because I have a feeling this story is far from over.